catalog beyond request and fulfill. Next slide. The webinar this morning is brought to you by our team at HP, so we'd like to thank them for their time and sponsorship of this webinar. Next slide. I'll be your host today. My name is Laura Walker. I work for HP Partner Stratacom in the IT service management space. I'm also on the board of directors, filling in as chapter and SIG liaison chair this year, and I also run a variety of chapters as well as our service manager special interest group. Next slide. We have 3 speakers today. Our first is Vesna Soraj. She's the Senior Product Marketing Manager for HP Software. Michael Pott, Senior Product Marketing Manager at HP Software. And Michael Yang, Senior Product Manager. Next slide. A couple notes before we begin. This is a live session and it's being recorded. Recordings will be available to all Vivint members, so you'll receive that in email after the webinar concludes. We will have a Q&A session at the end of our presentation. If you have questions throughout, please put those in the questions pane that I'll show you on the next screen, and we'll answer those at the end. Next slide. The control panel, if you don't see it, simply click that small orange box with the white arrow. You'll see the questions pane. Feel free to type in questions in chat, and that's where we'll find them for the end. Next slide. With that, I would like to turn it over to Michael Pott.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Michael Pott. I'm in Worldwide Product Marketing with Hewlett-Packard. And with that, let's go to the next slide. So, yeah, welcome to the future of IT Service Catalog beyond fulfillment, request and fulfillment. Current IT trends and disruption is what I'm going to talk about first. You heard about that before, I'm sure, but let's have some emphasis on what trends really relate to the whole catalog discussion. Then right after that, we go into what we call the Service Catalog 101. What is it? You know, what do we need to consider when having this discussion beyond user request, request fulfillment, service catalog? You know, what are these terms all about? How do they relate and things like that? And then I go into service catalog requirements, not all of them for sure, into key requirements for actually that what we think really makes up, you know, the top requirements for such a catalog that is prepared for the future. So with that, let's start the discussion. Next slide, please. And go into the trends. IT service management is really changing. And some of you may have heard me and other colleagues who also are on the phone here talk about earlier in other contexts. So what you see here in this, I think it's violet color, is the trends that are really most relevant to the whole service catalog discussion. And on one hand, these latest trends and the explosion of new technologies open up entirely new opportunities, as we all know, to IT to become more service-oriented, to become more productive, and to become more agile. Think about mobility, think about the cloud, think about multiple suppliers, for example, which all enable IT organizations to deliver true services at a high level of quality. On the other hand, there are other trends, or the same trends even, that make IT and business users demand more. Faster and at higher levels of quality even. Think about bring your own device, think about mobility again, think about social, going social, and think about software as a service here. One of the resulting disruptions, and this is why IT service management is changing, is the expectation of today's users for a consumerized experience, and we hear about that later on again, an experience they got used to from working consumer applications in their daily lives. You know, think about your smartphones, your tablet PCs, the applications you use there and things like that. On top of supporting more devices, more services, and dealing with constantly changing technologies, as I said, IT organizations need to deliver exactly this user experience to meet business and users' expectations. Otherwise, guess what? IT organizations risk to lose insight to the end user needs, and finally, oversight also on the solutions being utilized in their own infrastructure. Next slide, please. So how can we prove that there is a service management disruption? And in summary, there is a new set of end users' expectations raising, as I said. And let's see, how they manifest themselves. The consumerization of IT and the new generation of workers, which you see on the left-hand side, is causing a reset on business user expectations for services. So let's look at some numbers here. End users turn to other options for service and support. 15% of information workers, and I would say only 15% of information workers, are satisfied with their technology department's understanding of their needs. And you find the sources of these numbers and facts here in the slide deck so that you can do some more research later on if you wish to. Then going to the next box here. The line of business influence and control is increasing. By 2016, 80% of new IT, and I repeat that, 80% will directly involve line of business executives for IT investments. This is only the tip of the iceberg regarding the rise of the power outside of the IT organization. Again, if you want to follow up, a note on where this number comes from. Then IT governance is more and more undermined. More than 35% of cloud spending is outside of IT's control. This all sort of feels like that there is a potential loss of control coming to IT, and it might be, and we'll discuss, how you can avoid that in the next coming minutes. And still, having all this in mind, these numbers, the trends, the service management disruption, IT is still expected to deliver and support services and enable business agility while striving for even more productivity and managing risks and costs better than ever before. So now let's discuss how IT organizations can find a way out of what I call this dilemma. Next slide, please. And before we get into the requirements, the more detailed requirements, let's recap, why care about a service catalog at all, when you think about the disruption. And I think this is sort of, one of the points where this manifests itself is the fact that there was, IT service management has quite a long history with request management, the IT service catalog on the left-hand side. Then I would say a few years ago already, virtualization came up, which made things easier for IT, resulting on what we know today as cloud management and automation, also having their catalog, by the way. So when I said before it has never been easier to create and support services for IT, that is true, because the technologies, the means are there, but they are, if you want, in different places. IT service management on one hand, coming from the process end, from the ITIL end, or COVID, or whatever industry standard and best practices you look at. And then on the other end, you have the cloud with the portals, with fast provisioning. You pick and choose. Everything is being deployed, virtualized, switched automatically. So bringing these two worlds together, IT needs to become a service broker, and that way really satisfy the user's need to what is called here, got to have it now, fast, high quality, easy to use, always, from everywhere, which is the, if you want, outside-in view, and then the inside-out view, if you want, doing this all with optimized resources, doing more with less, while this entire technology is getting more and more complex, as we saw before. Next slide, please. So the service catalog is a way to solve the dilemma on the way or on the journey for IT to become a service broker, bringing different worlds together. But what is a service catalog? I still remember, years ago when I got into this IT service management business, that I always wondered, what is a service catalog? So let's first look at one of the many discussions that you probably know and find. And the one I always like to choose is the one from ITIL. I took it from an introductory overview of ITIL v3, and according to that, the service catalog provides a central source of information on the IT services delivered to the business by the service provider organization. Sounds familiar. Think service broker again. Ensuring that business areas can view an accurate, consistent picture of the IT services available, their details, and the status. so and so forth. You can look it up. There is more definition, as you know, I'm sure. What it also is, if you follow the books, you know, be it ITIL or other things, the service catalog really is what is, you know, is part of the entire service portfolio. This is what I depicted here on the left hand of the visual. So it's not just what the end users see. It's in fact really the live services or the active services or in production services, whatever you call them, the planned services. This is what next in terms of the business, you know, and then the retired services, services that are not visible anymore to all of the users, but which are still relevant because there might be support contracts that are tied to that. So this is, you know, what the books typically call the service catalog. But if you talk to people, think about consumerization of IT, mobility, bring your own device again. If you ask somebody, you know, what is a service catalog, what you really started, you know, more conversation around what I would call a service portal, which you see on the right-hand side. This is what we all pragmatically, naturally really think about what the service portal or a service catalog should be, a service portal in fact, with a great user experience, as we will see. So the term catalog appears, and I am saying appears because, you know, I don't want to talk against ITIL or any other thing, but sometimes to me it appears that the service catalog, the catalog as a term appears to be, you know, an antiquated term or at least overused, you know, like the word service. And today's businesses and end users use it as a synonym, that's my key takeaway here, for a great service portal / shopping experience, if you want, you know, in a broader sense. Next slide, please. Okay, we now know how does a service catalog help becoming a service broker. What is a service catalog? So we hopefully talk the same or similar language here now. The next thing is, you know, what is the right approach to a service catalog, to implement, use, roll out a service catalog? You know, this is the view here where I summarized, you know, 3 types of service catalogs. One which is called standalone. It separates the front-end portal from back-end process functions and the like, and it maintains a consistent user experience. You know, that is the, you know, that is the key driver or the, you know, the key purpose, if you want. And you know what that results in, a standalone catalog, which is a so-called top-down design, according to Gartner. I'll give you the reference later on, but also if you think about it, it's top-down, so pretty easy to imagine, I guess. So organization with a top-down or with this top-down approach can make unlimited changes to their IT operations management tools without really affecting how the user interacts with IT. You know, that's the point. The back end is separated from the front end. The experience is separated from the technology in the back end, I mean, right? So then there is catalogs that are part of an ITSM solution or platform or suite, you know, whatever you call them. And they are, guess what, optimized for integration with and off request fulfillment and with other IT processes for sure. Think about incident management, for example, change and config, which you know, lay at hand if you think about what other processes request fulfillments and the catalog integrates with. What does that mean? And this is a so-called bottom-up design or approach. When moving to a different solution, you know, from another company, a different vendor, the catalog in many cases needs to be replaced as well, which is a disruption for the business users because it's so interwoven with the back end that it's a huge effort to avoid this situation. And then there are, which I sort of already had on one of my earlier visuals, a cloud-specific catalog, which also is a bottom-up design, where the catalog is embedded in the cloud management platform and which is, as a result, restricted to requesting and provisioning cloud services only. So what does that all mean? And by the way, if you're interested in a deeper discussion of these approach and the catalog types, there is a paper, IT Service Catalog Tool Buyer's Guide from Gartner, where you find some more points, you know, going deeper into this whole discussion, what to look for when you look at these types of catalogs and other related information. The thing now is, this is my point, is that ITSM and the cloud, which are like two types of catalogs, at least here on this slide, are so tied to their backend because the catalog was an afterthought, then IT has a challenge. And an ideal solution should separate the catalog from the underlying backend process and systems, while also getting the other advantages of the other catalog types here, like integration with other processes. Think about that. So you really want to kill, I don't know whether such a term exists, but you really want to kill three flies with one stroke here. And now let's look into what are the required capabilities to do so. Next slide, please. And here is the answer, or part of the answer. Probably it's not that simple as on a visual, but what does a catalog solution need? Number one, a superior user experience means a single front door to IT where users can find everything service related they need. Fast, quickly, easy to use, you name it. And I don't talk further about that because I'm sure Vesna and Michael will go into that anyway. Number two, a one-stop shop for all IT services with an aggregated and integrated catalog. And also, this will be a point where I'm sure Vesna will go into more details later on. What's the point here? If you look into IT organization and business environments, you see a huge number of catalogs typically. And one approach at hand could be to consolidate these catalogs into one, which could be time-consuming, cost-consuming, and who knows, what other traps and pitfalls would be waiting in such an approach. So aggregation is one of the key requirements. Keep the data where it is and use that data in order to come up with this one-stop shop for all IT services, again, facing that to the users. And also, number three, integrating and automating that for a consistent delivery experience means integrating the service portal, this one, with a back end that is automating the request fulfillment. And again, not only for one catalog in the back end, for multiple catalog and for multiple backends. That's the thing here, right? And then last but not least, also this ties back to multi-supplier management and trends like that, also provide an open plug-and-play service exchange platform to enable IT service brokerage. Means that other external suppliers can be integrated into the service portal, and not only in terms of services, also in terms of, for example, exchanging incidents, interactions, and the like. And again, I think we'll hear more of that in a couple of minutes. So with that, I hope that all was interesting for you, setting the stage here on, what does a service portal need in order to get out of this IT dilemma and become a real service broker and partner to the business. And I have a first polling question to you. So if you would be so kind and answer, how many end user facing service catalogs do you have in your organization? I talked about these multiple catalogs and that they need to be aggregated instead of being consolidated. So is it 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 or more, or are you not sure? So please vote now. And I think, the interesting thing here really is, and this will take about 40 to 45 seconds, I guess. The interesting thing here is whenever, I meet customers, I never heard about a customer who only has a catalog. So, but again, that might be wrong, so I'm really keen on getting a more, qualified view on how many catalogs you have out there. Is it 5 or more? Is it 1 to 2? Maybe you even know it, which is, by the way, this is also a sign that there is a lot of catalogs maybe within and beyond your organization, by the way. So that's and with that, I think we can present the answers. Oh yeah, great. So first of all, thank you for answering. 1 to 2 catalogs, 37%, 3 to 4, 16%, 5 or more, 20%, not sure, 28%. I think that's a good picture of what I was expecting, or at least guessing here in my end. So for that, I thank you, and I want to hand over to Vesna Zoraj, who is taking you through the next part of HP Propel and the catalog aggregation. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. This is Vesna Soraj speaking. I'm Product Marketing Manager for HP Propel. And so you can already guess I'm going to talk about our brand new product, Propel. We released it in July of this year. And actually last week we had already our second release. So the current version we are shipping right now is Propel 101. But before I go and talk about products, let's see what were the drivers for Propel, why we released this great product in the first place. We realized until now that digital is also disrupting, and in particular it's disrupting traditional relationship between IT and business users. Users' expectations are different, and Michael talked already about that. Everyone is spending more time online in social media interactions. Of course, mobile devices are being adopted faster than ever. And so, as Forrester said, IT is not only delivering technology these days to business, but experience as well. And as you can see, this young man from our slide can be also one of your employees, and I'm sure that all of you have more and more such employees. Actually, one of the analysts wrote that by 2025, 70% of the U.S. workforce will be millennials. What do we know about him? His job is most probably non-routine, his lifestyle is digital, his expectations at work are the same as when he's using the social media, for example, at home. Telecommuting is increasing, work teams span multiple organizations, and all this is important to think about when we talk about some rather mature processes and concepts like IT service, like service catalog. So today it's really not everything just about processes and services standardization, but of extreme importance are language, connection, look and feel. Next slide, please. What do business users in fact want, and what do they care these days? Users want to easily find IT services and offerings. We all are used to Amazon and iTunes, eBay, Internet Forum, and all this is so easy to find and to use. So we have the same expectations at work. Users want mobile apps, seamless information access across applications and devices, easy of collaboration, self-service for all IT services. But this self-service must be absolutely easy to use and intuitive, meaning ordering and consuming IT services with a few clicks. Business needs access to new markets in order to grow. We know all that. We don't need to discuss. For that, often they need new services, new IT services, and simply new type of the apps of applications. And expectation is, in fact, that IT will identify and deliver solutions that support this top-line growth. That means IT needs to provide additional services, even new sort of services. And we can really say today it's not only about what IT wants to sell, but it's really about what business wants to buy. Then there is a need for the ability to customize applications by end users, well, again, using all kinds of devices to meet individual needs, and cost transparency. Business is now really expecting from IT to provide a little bit more cost transparency than what IT traditionally used to provide. These days, really, IT should not purely focus on efficiency and cost. It's much more around agility, around growth, but cost transparency is a very, very important element. Next slide, please. What else is going on? We all thought that, well, when cloud, became more and more important, and also before, in fact, cloud went mainstream, we thought that standard maturity evolution paths would be taken, but this really hasn't happened. For example, we know that network virtualization led to private cloud, and then we could expect that there would be given some time, IT, to get ready, to get more mature to prepare itself for the public cloud. But this really hasn't happened. Instead, many business users and line of business, they bypass IT and proceed directly to public cloud resources. And if you don't mind, we also know somehow that with all this, IT became a little bit less relevant. Now, all analysis, all polls are showing that, in fact, first of all, business users and line of businesses, their really desire, their wish is that all of these services that they are well purchasing, bypassing IT, if these services would be offered through IT. And why? Well, public cloud providers are developing offerings across multiple segments. It is really, for business users, they have sometimes too many choices. As you can see here, across system and application, across infrastructure and application and information services. Next slide, please. And we at HP talk about need for enterprise IT to become service broker. Now, if this topic is something that you maybe can't identify yourself today, or that you think, well, oh, this is too far away from my organization, please think about the following. You want to transform your IT, in particular your ITSM practice. You want to be more consumer-oriented, be more behavioral-based service provider, more agile, more dynamic. Portal and catalog are most visible parts of ITSM. Depending on your industry, potentially even most visible parts of your IT. And if you remember what we said a couple of slides earlier, users do expect to find offerings easily in order to consume services in a few clicks. So modern enterprise IT of today needs really to provide all services that the business needs. IT needs to out of those supply-driven mode and to go much more into demand-driven modes. IT really needs to provide services that business is anyway ready to pay them, and the way how to provide these services is through a single catalog. And as you can see here, this is the approach that HP took in our own HP IT organization, and we built a product that provides this type of capability, that there is entry door to IT, that there is a single portal and catalog accessible from any kind of device, including your desktops, for example. Now, we also know IT still remains traditional provider of on-premise or private cloud services, and at the same time, IT needs new capabilities to quickly assess, select, purchase services from the market which are available and that their business, in fact, need. And here comes really maybe the most important moment of change for IT. IT does not need to build and provision all services internally. IT needs to leverage market offerings. Purchase services, IT will need definitely to integrate, to aggregate, very often to customize. But what really business is expecting from IT is that IT will secure, will manage, and govern all these services, means also including services coming from public cloud providers. So you will need, well, if you want to go this path, you will need capability now how to connect this single catalog to multiple fulfillment systems, which all of on their own they have a single catalog. And well, 20% of you said that you have at least five end user facing catalogs. That means we are talking here about technology needed to connect single catalog with external service providers, in most cases public cloud providers, and yeah, it's no-brainer that we do not want to offer our users hundreds of catalogs if they need access to public cloud. These details must be hidden from end users. Next slide, please. And now introducing HP Propel. Maybe you saw this slide. This is a single slide that we keep showing and repeating since this is a very new product. Propel really enables enterprise IT organizations to become service broker, and Propel provides a single user experience. And when we need to break down Propel into just a few major blocks, then we come up with 4 key components. First is a single engaging portal, which ensures a single IT experience, and this is really true one-stop shop for all IT services. You will see later in Michael's demo. Second is a single aggregated catalog. This is definitely something what business is expecting from IT, to provide a single catalog. And yeah, we know from experience, it's not difficult at all to purchase, to consume private and public cloud services, but this can mean many portals and catalogs and a huge dissatisfaction of end users. Next is aggregated knowledge management. Propel can retrieve knowledge from different sources, but again through this single user experience. And the fourth is open service exchange. This is one of the key components that Propel delivers, and this is the component. This is, if you want, this is a middleware component that ensures easy integrations and onboarding of external service suppliers. So this is the component that connects on one side a single catalog, and on the other side all the fulfillment systems. Next slide, please. Some of the key differentiators of our Propel in the first version is definitely, so first of all, we designed and then we built Propel with a consumer experience first in mind. This single engaging portal assures that IT can capture 100% of business operational demand, and we are providing a single place for ordering and consuming services. And the service catalog is just one of the components. Aggregated service catalog will ensure that users, well, that they will have this single destination to order, to consume their services. And for us, it's very important that this is aggregated catalog. This is a catalog that aggregates services from underlying catalogs. And I'm going now to talk a little bit more into detail why this is so important. But so far, and in particular, well, I can imagine that 20% of you that answered that you at least have 5 end-user-facing catalogs. I can imagine that these are, for example, IT asset management type of catalog, for user onboarding, for hardware or software provisioning, for cloud services provisioning, and then just one of them is the service desk type of catalog. And HP Propel catalog can aggregate services from all your catalogs, and so offer all services in a single place. And very quickly, service exchange. We also sometimes say this is the backbone of the whole Propel product. This is that technology piece to which we integrate with the portal and with the catalog, but as well we are integrating with all fulfillment systems. Not necessarily that we can spend a lot of time speaking about service exchange. I hope that we will have one of our future webinars dedicated only to speak about the service exchange. Next slide, please. So let me talk a little bit why this aggregation is so important. Offering a single catalog, the whole idea, the market requirement is not new. And actually some of our competitors do this through consolidating catalogs into one. And if you think about, for example, if you have just have maybe 2 catalogs and you would like to get just one catalog, this is a very good solution. You may be able to clean up, to get rid of redundancies. You can rationalize your services. So, but also, you know, this is always a transformational project. That means this is a project that may take some time. If you have more than 2 catalogs, for sure this quickly will be multi-year project. We have our clients who told us that they were never able to finish consolidating even three catalogs, because the real issue that needs to be solved in these projects is how you will fulfill services from the new catalog. How are you going then to send requests to external service providers? How will you provision private cloud service? In particular, how are you going to provision some public cloud service? So what then happens even is that organizations that they end up in trying to consolidate all different fulfillment systems into one, and then you can imagine about what type of complexity we talk here. Next slide, please. And in Propel, we provide aggregated catalog. This is the virtual aggregated catalog. We will integrate with your existing catalogs. We will aggregate all services from underlying catalogs, but what's the most important, all your existing underlying catalogs, including the fulfillment systems to which they are attached, can stay in place. So this is really important to understand that Propel is in no way a rip and replace solution. It always will come on top of the systems that you already have in place. How is this possible, you might be asking? Well, because we provide this middleware component, service exchange. That means we are leaving all your fulfillment systems in place. Your business users always access one single catalog. They can access all services that they are entitled to. The request will be passed through service exchange to the corresponding fulfillment engine. And what's maybe even more important, you can start to easily bundle different services from different catalogs. Users will see them as the brand new, single offering, even when the fulfillment will be done by multiple systems. And again, the whole orchestration and the whole automation of such, let's call it among us in IT, complex requests will be managed, will be done through the service exchange. Value of aggregated catalog is instant. Your business users can immediately start accessing a single catalog, and they really do not need to be aware of all the background systems that you may have. Also, they don't need to go through trainings each time that potentially you replace some of your background fulfillment systems. Next slide. I believe that we are now coming to the second polling question, also for your information, the last for today. And this question is in fact between you and Michael Zemo. So, next question is, how many external service suppliers does your IT organization have or use? We offer following choices, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 or more, or if you're not sure, then please just click not sure. Let's leave a few more seconds. How many external service suppliers does your IT organization have? 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 or more, or not sure? Let's see results. Okay, so 10% of you said you have 1 to 3, 19% 4 to 6, 44% of you said, well, 7 or more. So this is very, very much aligned with what the industry analysis are showing, and 27% said not sure. Okay, with this, I would like to thank you for my part, and now I would like to turn over to Michael Yang.
Okay, thanks, Vesna. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, so what I wanted to do right now is actually walk you through our Propel system and point out some few things that was mentioned by Michael Pod as well as Vesna. So Propel, as you can see, is a web-based application. So you go into a browser and basically you specify in terms of the login information. Propel is HTML5 based application, so what you're about to see, you can see it exactly on the your tablet or your smartphone devices as well. Okay. So once the user logs in, this is the experience. These items here are what we call widgets. So widgets are things like a launch point into a different aspect of the Propel portal. It could be things like catalogs. It could be things like knowledge that Vesna mentioned earlier, or it could be creating a ticket in terms of creating a ticket from the user perspective. So, we speak often about the consumerization of IT. So we really try to put a lot of focuses on the very clean, very consumer-like experience for the portal. That's what we try to do. So this portal is very flexible. So, you could things like you can collapse certain things. You could definitely customize this. So if you wanted to see just a certain aspect of the widgets, you could do that as well. You could rearrange it. You could minimize it. You could add additional widgets if you wanted to. That's all possible as well. We also have, these are a number of widgets, what we call like out-of-the-box widgets. These are some of the widgets that provide for you in terms of the launch point into different aspects of the application. There are widgets like a custom widget that you can define. You can define widgets like a URL link, like here. If you click this, it will launch you into a HP Propel website, for example. There are widgets like clock widgets in which you would grab a system clock from your browser as well. And there are widgets that you can extract information that's available in Propel portal. The thing that I want to emphasize here is that you can basically create your custom widget, and you can do that very easily. So, Michael and Vesna mentioned a few things, right? One, when you build a portal like this, you want to have a very engaging experience. That was what we try to do. We can customize these widgets. You could even change background colors very easily on this. If you want to put different icons, different background colors, what we call themes, you could apply different themes so that the underlying logic stays the same, but the user experience changes on the fly very, very easily. So that's one aspect. Another aspect was the whole portal aspect, right? So whenever you have a consumer-facing portal, business user-facing portal, you're going to get a lot of requests for, hey, can I add this integration, or can you add this content? You're going to get a lot of requests like that, right? So what we wanted to do with the portal was to make that customization very, very, very flexible. It's HTML5, AngularJS-based applications. So you can very easily customize. One other thing that I want to emphasize here is that with the Propel portal, we have an SDK that's available. So if you wanted to create a custom content, you could use that SDK to create a different launch point into a different widget. You can basically create different widgets. And you can easily integrate or create your custom web app application off of this portal. So that flexibility, engaging customer experience, flexibility, that was very important. We talked a lot about the catalog aggregation. So what does that really mean, catalog aggregation? So let me show you in terms of how that works. So one of the key things you can do on this Propel portal is order services from business user perspective. So I'm logged in as a business user. Now I go to a catalog. Now I want to order something. One of the key things I want to emphasize here is that there's a number of catalog items that exist within Propel. And one way we did was we aggregated or we integrated with underlying catalog system to pull that information. For example, we have a catalog item called two-tier platform. If you look at underneath here, and I will make this a little bigger. If you look underneath here, you see here is a CSA catalog. So this item actually came from underlying our cloud service automation catalog. And if you look at it, click on this item, it has different options, right? It has option for, this is a cloud provisioning order, right? So you had options like, application server you're ordering, you want Tomcat or JBoss. Notice the pricing changes at the bottom. You could order a different databases associated with that. But these options, these all came from your underlying catalog management system. For this case is cloud service automation. So you could put checkout, two-tier platform, discretion need for my dev environment, right? For example, I have something like that. You could attach a file if you wanted to. You could submit a request. Okay. and request transfer, request number, and different things associated with it. So let's go back to the catalog again, browse catalog. So this is an example of cloud service automation. What if, so this is an example of cloud catalog, which we integrated or aggregated. What about your traditional ITSM items like desktop or something? So I'm going to search for desktop. And there's different desktops here, but let's say I need something like custom desktop provisioning. So this custom desktop provisioning also has different options associated with that, items, models, for example. So all these like options, they all exist within the underlying ITSM catalog. So underlying ITSM catalog in this case is Service Manager, HP Service Manager. And this logic associated with it, for example, I need memory of 1. It needs to be greater than 8. So you put something like 8, right? Monitors, I need 21-inch or 24-inch, for example. You can do that as well. So these are all that's options. These all came from the underlying catalog system that we aggregated. So when we say aggregated, it's really mean integrated. So let's say you integrate this catalog items from underlying system from a ITSM system like Service Manager, you displayed here. What happens if you underlying catalog, you added additional catalog items after you integrated with Propel? So next time when you re-aggregate, basically it only takes the added items or changed items and reflect those changes into Propel next time when you do the aggregation. So it definitely has a business logic associated with that, and you can provide a different capabilities associated with this aggregation capability. So this is very important, a very key concept, and you can submit order as well, for example. Okay, so let me go back to the dashboard. I could go to things like service requests. So what did I put in request for? So I requested for custom desktop ordering, two-tier platform, so I could see it. It's still waiting for approval, and so on and so forth. So, the thing that why aggregation is important is that I am sure when you go back to your environment, there's going to be a mix of environment in terms of the multiple ways in terms of you're fulfilling your system. It could be your traditional ITSM systems like Service Manager or Remedy or whatever that may be. You may also have a cloud-based system that may be a CSA, VMware, whatever that may be. You may also have some custom fulfillment system they developed like 10 years ago by someone to order something within the IT environment. So the aggregation of capability allows you to kind of provide the capability where you don't need to go rip and replace every single like catalog management system there is and just put it into a single item. We can aggregate, meaning we can integrate with your existing fulfillment and catalog management system, so you can get value out of providing the single user experience to users immediately from day one. So that's what we try to kind of provide. This is something very unique offering within the marketplace, where we as an HP is filing a patent as of we speak right now. So this is very unique capabilities that we can offer to the customers. But let's say you're a really much smaller organization. You really don't need an aggregation capability. Maybe this may not be an issue, but from Propel, even for that perspective, some of the things that we can provide to you is the fact that this whole engaging consumer portal experience. So how flexible in terms of providing this user experience as well as the portal customization capability. Things like adding custom widgets and so on and so forth are very important. So that's something that we can provide. And this is why this widgeting capability is very important for us. And let me show you a couple of examples of the custom widgets that we created. So we have custom widgets for things like knowledge articles. So if you look at knowledge article, this knowledge article we're actually integrating. So we're actually integrating and extracting this knowledge article in real time with underlying knowledge management system. In this case, it's Service Manager knowledge management system. So you can still do searches like desktop if you wanted to. You can search for it, remote install desktop. You can extract this information, for example. So this is an example of knowledge widget. So what that means is we can provide same integration, right, to any other underlying knowledge management system you may have. It could be other ITSM system, or it could be other knowledge source you're storing. we can aggregate that and provide that experience for you. Let me show you another example of widgets. So another example of widget may be a support ticket. So I go in to a single place, single portal, Propel portal. I search for knowledge, and I didn't find what I was looking for. So I need to open up a support ticket into IT. So I click on the support ticket widget. And after I open it, basically it allows me to fill in the data. And this is very simple in terms of how you can create. So let me just put in the data. Having problems with Windows 8. Please help. Contact, notify by, telephone, and urgency. All this data in terms of label and these data validation field, these all came from the underlying ITSM system in real time. So these aren't like hard-coded, these are dynamically retrieved. So this is an example of custom web application we were able to quickly build and integrate with your underlying system. And that underlying backbone structure that allows you to do that is, again, as Vesna mentioned before, is what we call our service exchange solution associated with that. So you fill in all the data. Again, these are all dynamically pulled from your underlying system. And once you submit a ticket, what we'll do is it will create a ticket in your ITSM system, in this case Service Manager, and create a reference number associated with this. This is an example of a support ticket widget using our HP ITSM solution called Service Manager. But you could have done this with any other ITSM system as well. So that's the really power of it. Then you can use Propel Portal to integrate with your underlying ITSM system very, very, very easily. And that's some of the things that very attractive in terms of what we bring to the table. So just to recap, Portal, very engaging experience. We have what's called widget to help you easily integrate and add additional content. We also have a SDK that's available so that you can easily create these additional widgets. We have a way to do that through our admin console, but you can really build really sophisticated web-based application using our Portal platform, using our SDK. So that's really important that we can do. One other thing is this experience, having a single user experience to your end user by having this integration capability with your underlying catalog management and fulfillment system. We can do that. And we have this thing called catalog aggregation that would allow you to do that as well. So that's some of the key points I think we mentioned. Just because of lack of time, I can't show you everything. But if you're interested in the solution, then we can certainly schedule something and walk you through end-to-end in terms of some of the really cool features that we have within Propel. Okay. With this, I will hand that back to Vesna.
Thank you, Michael. It was a great demo. Let's go. Okay. So let's now summarize before we go to your questions. Propel is the product that enables IT to become a service broker. We help you increase end user satisfaction. How we do it? Through engaging consumer experience for end users that Propel provides. Propel will help you to have superior self-service delivery speed and agility. How is this possible? It's possible through the orchestrated service delivery and single aggregated self-service catalog. And last but not the least, we will help you being more flexible in assessing, in selecting best service suppliers, and we do this through our open service exchange. Next slide. So before we go to see your questions, I'm inviting you, if you haven't done that already earlier, to visit our Propel webpage. It's displayed here, hp.com/go/propel. You can find there quite several assets. However, I'm suggesting that you have a look at the following three. If you have 30 minutes of your time, I suggest to listen to Gartner online webinar. Donna Scott talks about service brokerage and why is that the future of IT. then the second is the IDC paper. They evaluated Propel a few months ago. And the third is actually not on our web page, it's on the YouTube channel. So either, well, once when you download the our presentation, here you can see the link, or if you are on YouTube and you simply search HP Propel, you can then find this walkthrough video. Although I have to say that just yesterday I posted also a new type of video as well. And please, if you have any requests, if you have any question, contact us. Request a demo. Our names and our emails are displayed here. Michael Yang, Michael Pott, Adele Wilcox, and my email vesna@hp.com as well. I would like on this place to thank you for your for attending this webinar, and I would like to turn over to Laura.
Great, thank you, Vesna. We have quite a few questions. We'll see how many we can get through in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The first question I have is for Michael Yang. Michael, with Service Manager, the ESS portal with Service Catalog, can this be aggregated to HP Propel along CSA and other portals later?
The answer is yes. The current Service Manager that we aggregate or integrate with SM 932, 933, 934, and the CSA 4.1, and obviously, you know, we can support other third-party catalog aggregations as well that we can build. And one other thing is that you can coexist. So if you have a Service Manager instance and some of the users want to use ESS front end, and if you want to have some of the other users use Propel, such as a pilot user format or something, we can also support that as well.
Great, thank you. The next question is also for Michael Yang. Michael, what catalogs can be aggregated through Propel? Can non-HP products be connected to Propel portal?
The answer is absolutely. The current HP product that we're supporting, like I said, Service Manager and CSA, but we're also currently working on Service Anywhere from HP product. For non-HP products, we're working in terms of the aggregation fulfillment capability with Remedy, Jira. I know Jira is a very popular ticketing system for a lot of the organization, as well as ServiceNow. So just to make it sure it works with both HP and non-HP product. And we have a customers that's actually exactly using Propel for that purpose in terms of working in a HP as well as non-HP environment.
Great, thank you. I have two sort of related questions I'm going to direct towards Vesna at this time. Vesna, should I use Propel instead of Service Manager's Service Request Catalog? And is Propel a replacement for HP Service Catalog?
Okay, so Propel can complement Service Manager SRC. If your organization has multiple catalogs or fulfillment sources, we recommend Propel in cases, in general, if you have multiple catalogs. Now, you can use Propel only if you have SRC, but really main use case of Propel is if you have multiple catalogs or multiple fulfillment sources. With having said that, I mean, we do not really classify Propel as the replacement of SRC. You can use it together with Service Manager and with SRC.
And this is Michael Yang. Just to add to what Vesna said, you know, the Michael Pott and Vesna mentioned earlier in the presentation in terms of that Gartner report. I would definitely recommend the folks who has access to Gartner to look at that. Basically, Gartner defines the IT portal and catalog as 3 different spaces, as Michael Pott mentioned. One is the catalog that grew out of the ITSM space. So these are like SMESS, SRC, or Remedy catalog, or Snow catalog, whatever that may be. But it's an extension of the ITSM solution that provides a portal and catalog. The second category, same thing with the cloud management. So things like our CSA or VMware is a good example of that. The third category is where the Propel falls into place. Instead of starting from the back-end ITSM or cloud system, we started from the top down, meaning we wanted to start from the user perspective. They just want to have a single experience. They don't care where the fulfillment occurs. So this is what our Propel portal does, and we work with multiple fulfillment systems, right? Either Service Manager, Remedy, or CSA, whatever that may be, and we support that through our middle layer, which is called Service Exchange that Vesna mentioned. So fundamentally, it's different in terms of SM, ESS, or SRC, what we try to do in terms of the market space. However, we can do things like the portal and catalog for Service Manager use cases, right? Some of the things that SM does provide, but it is not a same product. It's a different product, and it's just that one of the things that we can do to support that in the single experience is could also be that the front end to Service Manager as well. But it is not a replacement. Rather it's an alternative solution for some of the customers that may be looking for it. That adds much more value.
Okay, great. Thank you. Michael Yang, next question is for you. Does Propel support language pack like Hebrew, Hindi, Arabic?
We support over 20 languages, and Hindi I got to check, but we do support Hebrew and Arabic.
Okay. Does Propel require Adobe Flash?
I thought I made that clear. No, there's no Flash. It is all HTML5 based. So what you see, what I demoed, you can do the same thing on your smartphone or tablet, and it's all HTML5 based. There's no Flash component whatsoever.
Thank you for answering that again. What expertise is required to implement Propel in an organization?
Typically, again, I think the people that's on the call are the right people. So someone that has, ITSM, either ITSM or cloud background, that has an experience in terms of implementing portal and catalog, either from ITSM perspective or cloud perspective. Those are the right set of folks. I think our admin usability is very, very easy to navigate in terms of some of the capabilities there. If you, like I said, you can really extend our portal solutions to custom integration, custom web apps. So if you're really trying to do like custom web app development, something like that, then someone that has skills in HTML or AngularJS, some of the JavaScript type of skill sets, and I think you can really be flexible in terms of the extending or customizing the solution even further.
Great, thank you. I believe this next question is also for you. Is the content of the Create Ticket feature customizable to match fields required by the existing ticketing system?
Absolutely, and that is what makes Propel actually one of the really, really flexible solutions. So what I showed to you prior in terms of the ticketing solution, I am not like defining that within Propel. I am dynamically retrieving that. So you specify what fields from the underlying ITSM system that you want to extract and display onto the portal. That's what you can do. And that really is the part of the portal customization and flexible capability. I just didn't have time for all the other steps that I could show you for it. But for example, today I just did another demo where we could extract the fields from underlying JIRA system, for example, if you're using JIRA as a ticketing system, and we can dynamically display on that same widget in terms of the fields relevant to the JIRA as well. So that's really powerful. So it's very, very flexible in terms of dynamically defining what fields you want to retrieve and then display it as part of the support widget. One other key thing that I want to emphasize, I wanted to mention is that although I just didn't have time to show, you can define what's called a different multi-tenancy within Propel, so that if certain part of the organization, when they create a ticket, should go to a service manager, but certain other parts of the organization, when they create a ticket that needs to go to JIRA, you can define that as well within Propel. So let's say if Michael Yang is creating a ticket, that ticket should really go to the service manager ITSM system. If, let's say, if Vesna is logging into Propel, same Propel instance, and when she logs a ticket, if that needs that ticket request to go to Jira or Remedy, you can configure that as well. So that's very flexible in terms of how you want to route the ticket.
Great, thank you. I'm not sure we'll have time for this question, but someone would like you to show us how a widget's created. Are you able to do that in 1 or 2 minutes?
Yeah, let me show you how widgets are created. Actually, I can show that. Am I sharing right now? I just want to make sure.
I don't see your shared screen. I see the slide still.
Okay. You know what? If you can give me your name and contact, I will show you a separate demo. I need to just re-enable this, but I just don't think we have time. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So if you leave your contact name, then I can show you.
And I do see the name of the person who posed the question, so I'll route his information to you. Let's wrap up with one final question. The last question I have is, can you please explain the value of Propel for HP Service Manager customers? Michael Yang, you could answer. The question, it looks like, is directed at Michael Pott. So if one of you could answer, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can start, and Michael and Vesna, feel free to add. So from the Service Manager or customer perspective, I think you can look at it from 2 perspectives. One, you know, we know that within your IT environment, you're in a multi-supplier, multi-fulfillment environment. So Service Manager could be your only fulfillment system. You may have other fulfillment system like cloud or your third-party forever. So if you're living a multi-supplier, multi-fulfillment environment, and you need to provide a single experience, and Propel is the right solution. But let's say if you're living in a world where a Service Manager is the only thing, and that's the only fulfillment system, that's fine. You may be a smaller or medium type of organization. You only live in that environment. In that case, the value that we bring to the table from Propel perspective, if you need a portal solution that's flexible, modern consumer experience, ability to kind of customize the flexible customized portal solution, that's the value that we can bring to the table for Propel for that particular SN customer base.
Great, thank you. Thanks everyone for your time. Let's wrap it up with a couple of final slides. We are 10 minutes past the hour. We'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, please consider registering for the HP Discover Conference in Barcelona. It's coming up December 2nd through the 4th this year. It'll be at the Fira Barcelona Gran Via, just where it was last year. We have a registration link here. You don't have to write the whole link down. We will send out the slideshow so that it's easy for you to click through. Last slide, please. We would like to thank you once again for coming in. The final slide that you'll see coming up here shortly, and in the deliverables we'll email out, we'll have a short survey and an opt-in for HP information. So we'd invite you to click on the link, take the survey, and we hope we'll see you at the next webinar coming up. Thanks everyone for your time. Have a wonderful day.